In this lecture, I will describe development and eruption of primary teeth in brief, in addition to the major contrasts between the primary dentition and permanent dentition. The term deciduous comes from a Latin word meaning to fall off. So the deciduous teeth are termed so because they fall off or shed naturally, similar to the leaves of deciduous trees. Sometimes they were referred to as temporary teeth, milk teeth, or baby teeth. All these terms are improper since they imply that these teeth are useful for a short period of time, which is not. The presence of a normal primary dentition is essential for the development of normal and well-aligned permanent teeth. Primary dentition consists of a total of 20 teeth, 10 in each jaw and 5 in each quadrant. In each jaw there are 4 incisors, 2 centrals and 2 laterals. There are 2 canines in each jaw, 1 in each quadrant, and there are 4 molars, 2 in each quadrant, the primary first molar and the primary second molar. There are no premolars in primary set. So, regarding number, there are 20 compared to 32 in the permanent dentition, and regarding the classes of teeth, there are 3 classes: incisors, canines, and molars, and no premolars. Primary anterior teeth resemble their respective permanent teeth very closely. Primary maxillary first molars resemble the permanent premolars in a crown form. However, they have 3 roots. The primary mandibular first molar is the only primary tooth that have a unique crown form, and it does not resemble any other primary or permanent tooth. On the other hand, the primary second molars appear like miniature permanent first molars of the respective dental arches. So the primary maxillary second molar closely resembles the permanent maxillary first molar, while the primary mandibular second molar closely resembles the permanent mandibular first molar. Development and eruption of primary teeth. The primary teeth begin to form prenatally at about 14 weeks in utero. Development of primary teeth occurs both prenatally and postnatally, whereas the development of permanent teeth is entirely postnatal. Development of permanent teeth starts at birth, where permanent first molars, maxillary and mandibular, show their first evidence of calcification. The sequence of eruption. The predominant sequence of eruption for the primary teeth in each jaw, whether maxilla or mandible, is the same, and it's as follows. First, the first tooth to erupt is the central incisor, then the lateral incisor, then burst molars, then canines, and finally the last tooth to erupt is the second molar. Mandibular teeth usually precedes the maxillary teeth in eruption. So the first tooth to erupt is the mandibular central incisor, and the last tooth to erupt, last primary tooth, is maxillary second molar. Regarding the eruption time, or the time for emergence of the primary teeth into the oral cavity, the mandibular central incisor is the first primary tooth to appear or erupt in the oral cavity about the age of 6 months, as an average at the age of 8 months. Then followed by maxillary lateral, then maxillary central, mandibular lateral, then primary maxillary and mandibular first molars, then canines, and finally mandibular second and maxillary second molar. will erupt at the age of 20 to 30 months. So by the age of 2.5 to 3 years, the child would have his or her all primary teeth erupted into the oral cavity. Shedding of a primary teeth. The complete primary dentition is functional in the mouth from 2 to 6 years of age, so the lifespan is short compared with the permanent teeth. After which the primary teeth will be gradually replaced by the permanent teeth. The sequence of shedding is the same as that for the eruption. That's to say, the first primary teeth to be lost or shed or exfoliated are mandibular central incisors, followed by the lateral, then the maxillary central and maxillary lateral. Then primary first molars will be shed, then the primary canines, and finally primary second molars. So the sequence of shedding is the same as the sequence of eruption. The shedding of primary teeth will start by physiologic resorption of the roots of the primary teeth. Then they will be finally exfoliated, and their permanent will take their place in dental arches. This process starts from the 7 years of age and lasts until 12 years of age, when primary second molars will be exfoliated and replaced by the permanent premolars, second premolars. The primary incisors are replaced by permanent incisors, also the canines replaced by permanent canines, while the primary molars will be replaced by premolars, the first and second premolars, mandibular and maxillary. What's the significance of a primary teeth? Primary teeth are important for efficient mastication of food. Also, they maintain normal facial appearance, help in the development of a clear speech for the child, maintenance of normal eruption schedule for permanent successors, and finally maintenance of space for eruption of permanent successor teeth. The premature loss of a primary teeth will result in loss of space in the arch for the eruption of their permanent successor and will result in the development of malocclusion, permanent dentition. What are the major contrasts between the primary and permanent teeth? In general, the primary teeth are fewer in number, 20, while the permanent are 32. The primary teeth are smaller in overall size and crown dimensions. They are lighter in color and more opaque. Enamel is thinner, is about 1 millimeter thick. The cementum is thin as well, and both enamel and dentin are less mineralized and less dense. The crown differences. Crowns of primary teeth are wider mesiodistally in comparison to their crown height, as it's demonstrated in this figure. The mesiodistal width of the primary maxillary lateral incisor is greater compared to its crown length. There is marked constriction of the cervical portion of the crown, which result in a more prominent cervical ridge. Cervical ridges on facial aspects are more prominent. These ridges are normally covered by gingiva and epithelial attachment, so clinically they are not visible, but on extracted teeth they are quite obvious. So compared with a permanent maxillary lateral incisor, the differences are quite clear regarding the proportion between crown width and crown length, and also the prominent cervical ridge and prominent constriction at neck in the primary teeth compared with the permanent dentition. Differences regarding root outlines. The roots of a primary anterior teeth are longer and more slender in comparison to the crown size. Primary anterior teeth, you can see that the root length is quite long compared with crown length. The roots are narrow mesidistally and slender. They are more delicate and they are more widely flared to make room for developing permanent teeth crowns. As you can see here, the roots of primary maxillary and mandibular molars are widely separated to allow room for the crowns of premolars to develop. The root trunk of primary molars is much smaller. The rooted trunk is much shorter and smaller compared permanent teeth, and it's more close or closer to the cervical portion of the crown. Differences regarding pulp chamber and pulp canal. Pulp horns are high and pulp chambers are large compared with the permanent teeth. Dentin thickness between pulp chamber and enamel is limited. So the distance or the thickness of dentin between enamel and pulp chamber is less than that in the permanent teeth. Pulp canals are ribbon-like with a tortuous path. In this figure, there's a comparison or demonstrated comparison between maxillary primary molar and maxillary permanent or permanent maxillary second molar from a linguobuccal cross-section. So this is the buccal aspect of the primary molar, and this is the lingual aspect. And this is buccal side, and this is the lingual side of a permanent maxillary second molar. Starting from the enamel cap, it can be seen that the enamel cap thickness is less in primary teeth compared with permanent teeth or permanent molars. Dentin thickness between enamel and pulp chamber is much less in primary teeth than permanent teeth. However, in the area of pulpal wall at the occlusal fossa of primary molars, there is greater dentin thickness in this area under the occlusal fossa compared with permanent teeth or compared with permanent molars. Pulp horns are proportionately higher. Pulp chambers are larger compared to the crown size in primary teeth than in permanent teeth. The cervical ridge is more prominent in primary molars than permanent molars. There is marked constriction at cervix in primary teeth compared to permanent. And finally, regarding root outlines, the roots of primary molars are longer and slender proportionately, and they are more widely separated at their apices to make room for developing permanent teeth buds.